Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today I'm going to be making my NBA first round playoff predictions. Let's get into it. I'm really excited for this NBA first round. I think it's going to be a great first round this year. I can get into how disappointing last year's was, and honestly, the way I'm looking at it is this is going to be much better than last year. I thought last year was very boring, the first round. I mean, we saw a good series. I thought which was a really good series in the first round last year. Cleveland and Orlando was a great series. It was the only 7-game series of the first 8 playoff series last year in the first round. Outside of that, it wasn't very interesting. You want to go over every series to be exact. Denver and the Lakers. I think there were interesting games because it was back and forth, but Denver won in 5. I think an interesting series would have been 6 or 7 games between those two teams. And we saw Minnesota in the first round sweep Phoenix. We saw Dallas in the first round played a injured Clippers team and I believe beat them in 5. And OKC in the first round killed the Pelicans so bad that Charles Barkley started talking about how the Pelicans had to go to Galveston instead of going to the Bahamas. And then you want to look in the Eastern Conference. The rest of the Boston killed Miami, who didn't have Jimmy Butler in the first round. The Pacers and Bucks last year. Giannis missed the entire series. Dame missed most of the series. There were some interesting games, but it was not a fun series. I think it could have been much more entertaining, and hopefully this year's matchup between the two teams will be more entertaining with Giannis out there on the floor and Dame expected to be back game 2 or game 3 for this Bucks team. And then you want to keep it going. The Knicks Sixers series was a little bit interesting, but so the first round I think was not that great last year, but I think this year's first round has so much more potential. Last year, look at some of the series in both conferences this year. I look at the Pistons and Knicks. That should be a great series. Look, I think the Cavs and Celtics series, where they're facing the Hawks and Magic, where they're facing the Heat and the Magic, those might not be as good. Those series might not be as good, but the game that I'm watching right now is it's 15-11. As Giannis Antetokounmpo goes to the free throw line, the Bucks and the Pacers, I think that should be a great series and even more entertaining when Dame gets back game 2 or game 3. And I think that you got those two series in the West. I don't know if there's a series that's not interesting. The Lakers and Timberwolves, I think, is going to be a great series. I think the Rockets and the Warriors is going to be the best one. I don't see a way where it's not a 7-game series. The Clippers and Nuggets, same thing. It's going to be a great series. Really, the only series in the West that I look at that I don't think is going to be entertaining to watch is going to be Memphis and OKC, because I feel like OKC is just going to kill them. So, I think it should be a really entertaining first round. I'm going to go over predictions. We're going to start over in the Western Conference. I think starting off with the Thunder and Grizzlies, since what I just said, it should not be a surprise when I make this prediction. I have the Thunder sweeping the Grizzlies. Look, I don't think the Grizzlies match up too well against this Thunder team. I think the Thunder for back-to-back seasons are going to sweep their first-round opponent and beat the Grizzlies. It's nothing against Memphis. I think they're a good team. I just think OKC is way better. I'm going with OKC getting the sweep. Then, getting to the Nuggets Clippers, I think this is probably going to be the second best series of this first round. I think it's going to be a great series. I got the Clippers in 6. Jokic is the best player in the world, but here's where I think you will hurt of firing your veteran head coach, Mike Malone, going up against a head coach like Ty Lue with veteran players like Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell, James Harden, guys that are experienced. Norman Powell's won a championship. Kawhi's won a championship. James Harden has a lot of experience. This is not the team you want to play in the first round for a rookie head coach who only coached the final 2-3 games of the season like Dave Adelman. And it's nothing against Dave, because I think Dave is a very experienced coach. Really killed it as an assistant really last almost 10 years, but it doesn't change the fact that he's not experienced at the head coaching level. Ty Lue is, won a championship as a head coach. You've got Kawhi and Norman Powell, who are NBA champions. You got James Harden, who has playoff success, really hot right now. Zubac had a great season. He should be should be a front runner or one of the front runners for most improved player of the year. I got the Clippers in 6. All right. Then I'm gonna get to my favorite team, the Rockets and Warriors. I'm the Rockets fan. I'm trying not to be biased. I'm gonna do game by game predictions here. I'm going with the Rockets winning game 1. I'm going with the Warriors winning game 2. I'm going to predict that the Warriors win game 3, go up 2-1. Rockets win game 4, tie the series up at 2. Game 5 goes back to Houston, and the Rockets win game 5. Rockets win game 5 and up 3-2, and the Rockets would be familiar with the 3-2, being up 3-2. Game 6, can the Rockets put it away? I'm going to go with no. This is a young team. I love this Rockets team, but they're a young team versus a very experienced team. It's going to be hard to put the series away at Golden State in San Francisco. So I see this series going to a 7th game in Houston. Who has the edge in that game for the Rockets? That would be the interesting thing. I'm going with the Rockets. I'm trying not to be biased, but I believe in this Rockets team. I think defensively they match up well against this Warriors team. Amen Thompson has done a really good job guarding Stephen Curry. To be honest, I'm more afraid of Jimmy Butler than I am anything compared to Stephen Curry. It's nothing against Steph. Steph is an amazing player, but it's easier to neutralize Steph Curry than it is Jimmy Butler. You can neutralize Steph. Yes, he might have some really nice games. I'm not saying he won't, but because you can double team him like the Rockets have done in the past. You can have a man on him and have him deal with him. Steph has had struggles against him. Steph didn't even average 20 points per game this year against the Rockets. I'm not worried about Steph. I'm worried about Jimmy Butler. This is the time of year where Jimmy Butler goes nuclear mode, and that's not something this Rockets team should see in their first ever playoff series. And so that's why I very easily could see the Warriors winning this series. Me personally, as a Rockets fan, I kind of want to see the Warriors versus the Lakers in the second round, but I also want to see my Rockets head to the second round. But it should be an interesting series. And then, so that's it for the Lakers Timberwolves. I'm going with the Lakers in 6. I know a lot of people saying Lakers in 5 because Shannon and the Lakers in 5. And it's something that's the Lakers. I think Minnesota's a good team, and here's the thing that I think will kill the Lakers in this series and will hurt them is the size. There's a size problem. You got Jackson Hayes as your center, and LeBron's playing the 4. And this Minnesota team, you look at their 3 through 5 in the lineup: Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, and Rudy Gobert. Off the bench, you have Naz Reid, Alexander Walker. And am I missing anybody? There's a lot of size on this Minnesota Timberwolves team, and it's hard to deal with. And that's going to be a problem for this Lakers team who doesn't have a lot of size. And there might be at times where you miss Anthony Davis when you're going up against teams like this with Minnesota who are stacked with big men or guys at the 4 position. So I'm not saying you should regret trading Anthony Davis, because you shouldn't, because you just pulled off the fleece of a lifetime. But I think that it's gonna be hard at times for this Lakers team to deal with Minnesota's size. But I still think the Lakers pull it out in 6 games. All right, let's get to the Eastern Conference real quick. I got Boston sweeping Orlando. Boston's a heavy three-point shooting team. Orlando's one of the worst teams in basketball with shooting threes. Orlando, I could see winning a game because they are one of the best defensive teams in basketball, but I got Boston winning in 4, so 2 sweeps I have in the first round. Cleveland, Miami. I could see Miami taking Cleveland to 6. I think this Miami team is really underrated. And the fact that they've made all the way from the 10 seed, become the first 10 seed to make it to the playoffs, I think it should be interesting. I could see Miami taking them to 6, but I think in all likelihood Cleveland wins in 5 games and the gentleman sweep. And then Indiana Milwaukee. Watching this Indiana Milwaukee game right now, I'm gonna go with Indiana winning game one, which they're up 6 right now, but that doesn't mean anything. It's the first quarter. I'm going with Milwaukee winning game 2. Milwaukee, I think if you should get back Dame. You should give Dame back game 3. I think you go with I go with Milwaukee game 3, and I go with Indiana to win the game 4. Game 5 would be interesting because the series would be tied and back in Indiana. That would be a hard game for the Bucks, but I'm gonna go with the Bucks winning that as well, and then them closing out the series in Milwaukee in 6 games, and then Pistons Knicks. I'm going to go with the Pistons losing the first 2 games of the series. I got the Knicks winning the first 2 games of the series. It's going to be hard. It's a young Pistons team, not a lot of playoff experience. Tobias Harris, sure. Malik Beasley, some of their veterans that they added in this year have playoff experience, but the young guys don't have experience. I don't think that's not too bad when you're going up against a Knicks team that is really good. I think you lose the first 2 games of the series, but the Pistons being back at home in the playoffs, I think it's going to be an amazing atmosphere that you will see in Detroit for game 3. The Pistons have not won a playoff game since 2008, and I honestly think I'd like to see that first playoff win be, in Detroit compared to in New York. I think that'd be interesting, and I see the Pistons winning game 3. But I got the Knicks winning game 4 up 3-1. I'm gonna go with the Pistons winning game 6 and them winning game 5, and then the series being 3-2. The Pistons would finally beat the Knicks at MSG, and then going back to Detroit, I got the Knicks closing the series out in 6. I think it's nothing. It's the Pistons team. I love this Pistons team. If you check my popular videos, I predicted them to be really good this year. I don't think this is the team you want to face or the place you want to play at. Playing at Madison Square Garden in a first round playoff series for the majority of your young guys being in their first playoff series. So, but I think that the Knicks win in 6 games. Let me know your thoughts on the on my first round playoff predictions in the comment section, and peace out.